Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start off with something really simple. I wasn't going to do this live stream today. Now, a lot of you are saying, who cares? And well, you should, because those people that say things like that to me in regards to who cares about my opinion are basically what we call on the internet the three rivers of YouTube. And that would mean, by definition, three individual septic water rivers, or rivers of septic water, meeting in one primary location. And that is where most of the commenters create their comments via the influx of the septic water itself, product of swimming in the three rivers. So for those of you who don't like my live stream, there is a thumbs down button, but I have something to say. I'm going to premise this video with, of course, I have to make this video comedy, because if anybody took me serious, then they might kick in that critical thinking part of their brain, which has been dormant for so many years. But for those of you who have followed me since 2010, you would know that my political points of view and my political videos, no matter how diverse, no matter how crude, and no matter how politically incorrect they were, that the videos I created in 2010 happened to have probably better than a 95% chance of being more correct than false. I would say 75% of them happen to have been absolutely correct. For instance, now I have to preface this with the fact that I don't know anything about politics and I can't prove anything that I say. And the reason I can't prove anything I say is because the news, media, and all the news outlets, they lie to you, which is exactly what Congress does to you also. They swore an oath to uphold the Constitution from both foreign and domestic, and they don't do that, so they're lying. And then the news media telling you that Hillary Clinton was going to win the election, they were lying. And then the Republicans saying that the world would come to an end if Hillary Clinton got elected, they weren't lying. What they meant is the world would come to an end sooner rather than later, because the plan, which has always been in existence, always will be in existence until the plan is complete. President George Herbert Walker Bush told you about this plan in 1991 when he described the New World Order, and then added, and there will be a New World Order. And ladies and gentlemen, although Donald Trump puts on a completely opposing face to the New World Order, this is how I see the border crisis. So I'm not really interested in what people have to think. Hello, Grandad. Good evening. I'm not really interested in what people have to think about my opinions, because I don't care what you think. My opinions are based on watching as much as 10 hours a day of videos and news feeds, and then cross-referencing whatever you can prove and can't prove, which is really not possible. And I'll give you one, for instance, that proves that what the news media says is true. I don't have any notes, so I'm just going to do this by recollection. Okay, what the news says was true originally about this Caravan. I'm going to tell you what Donald Trump originally said too. Okay, so and don't get me wrong, I think Donald Trump was a better option than Hillary Clinton. There's a guy who calls himself the 1980s guy. Like I care what you think. But he classified me as a stone cold traitor, aka a Democrat professing to be a Republican. I'm neither one of those. Okay. If the 1980s guy had, and he even admitted that my Obama videos were pretty much spot on. However, me speaking the truth about what Donald Trump is doing doesn't detract from what he's doing, or doesn't add in any way, shape, or form what's going on, except that I'm telling you the truth according to my vision of the future. Hillary Clinton would have already had America and open borders destroyed. Okay, so that would have been one avenue, and she almost won. But Donald Trump came underneath. He came underneath that he's going to save the world. Now, he's done a heck of a job, according to some people, with where we are now as opposed to where we would have been with Hillary Clinton. But what you don't understand is that behind the scenes, and this is what people have criticized me for before, behind the scenes, good morning, Steve, well, good evening. Behind the scenes, there's something that is much bigger than the United States government. It's bigger than the Senate and the Congress. It's bigger than Russia. It's bigger than Israel. It's bigger than the AIPAC of Israel. There is something that through a series of entities, and we'll just call entities, they could be persons or they could be political affiliations, there is something that controls this world, and it has a purpose. Now, the purpose is not hidden in any way, shape, or form. If you read the works of certain people discussing the Illuminati goals, they tell you they want a one-world government and a one-world religion. Donald Trump is just a different path to the one-world government and one-world religion. Donald Trump backs Israel 10,000%. The people that are in political high places in Israel have strong affiliation with the Congress and the Senate, and judges and high profile lawyers and so on and so forth. So, and especially the what they call the lobbyists or the lobbying group that donate the money to the presidential election, congressional elections, mayoral elections. These people all have a common denominator between them, and that is, for the most part, the dual citizenship of the Israel congressman, dual citizenship of congressmen in the Senate and in the House. Now, I don't even know how many people are in the Senate or the House. I don't follow that aspect of it. All I know is that Donald Trump's affiliation with Israel and their agenda, which is the same agenda as the New World Order and the same agenda as the Pope, is to create a new world order. Now, forget about my videos on the dollar bill, which are 100% prophetic. Forget about my Obama videos, which have never, ever, on any level, been proven to be wrong. When I first started making videos in 2010, I said they would never, ever, 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 never, ever prove that Obama's birth certificate was real. That was what I said. I said that Sheriff Joe Arpaio was already bought and paid for. And the fellow that worked for him, Mike, was already bought and paid for. And I said this back as far as 2010. And they swore on a regular every 6 to 8 weeks that they had a new piece of information regarding Mr. Obama's birth certificate as to whether it was real or not real. They swore that it was going to be the last piece of information they needed to prove their theory. That was in 2011. I was making videos about this. 2010. All gone now because I lost my first channel. I said they would never prove Obama's birth certificate to be true, to be accurate. Never. I swore in the video that that would never happen. And did it ever happen? No, because about 3 months ago, I saw that guy, Mike. He has an Italian last name. I don't remember his name. But that he had another piece of information coming out. What was that now? It's 9 years? Mike Arillo or something like that. What was that, 9 years ago? This guy, this New World Order bought and paid for investigator that he still hasn't shown whether or not Obama's birth certificate is real or not. My political insights have never been proven wrong. You can say I'm crazy. You can call me fat, but you can't prove me wrong. Now, those videos, what are left of them, and the ones I made in the Philippines, and several, well, maybe 70 or 80 that I had left over on a drive that I brought from New York, are now only available on my Patreon account. Okay, and the only reason for my Patreon account is to watch my old political videos. Politically incorrect, I would get thrown off of YouTube. Even if I posted just the video I posted to Patreon this morning, I would probably lose my channel. But it's posted in private for private viewing only. So, was I wrong about Sheriff Joe Pryor? No. Everybody criticized my videos when I made them against Sheriff Joe Pryor. And the reason why they never, now I'll get into some of the reasons. The reason they never showed Obama's birth certificate to be true or false is because they can't prove it to be an accurate birth certificate. And they can't, this goes for Sheriff Joe Pryor, although I've said in my videos, the guy is in 80-something years old. Several years back, I made some videos about him. Why doesn't he just tell you the truth? Do a live news feed, tell the people what he really found out, and stop dilly-dallying around with the truth. But I am sure he got money, so I'm calling him out on being bought and paid for. I'm sure he was told that if he does this, his family would be in jeopardy, which I can't blame him for not doing the birth certificate or natural thing. But there's a bigger reason. It's the same reason they didn't prove Obama's birth certificate to be wrong. Is the same reason they're not putting Hillary on the witness stand and charging her with anything yet. Okay? It's been already dragged out for 5 years. Eric Holder, the gun running thing, no charges were ever brought against him. But if you sold the gun in Mexico, you'd be in jail for, I don't know how many years, 10, 20 years. Okay, just one. And then that's a bullshit story too. That's a bullshit story. The gun running story. It's a bullshit story. Eric Holder said he sold the guns to the Mexicans so he could trace who and where the guns were going to. That's a bullshit story. If he wanted to trace the guns, he could have put a tracer in the stocks of the guns. Inside the packaging of the guns, they could have put electronic devices in the packaging. But they didn't do that because Eric Holder is lying to you. Now, why haven't they charged Hillary Clinton? Here's the plan. The longer they wait, the more people die off that have a brain and are able to use it. People that are awake. The longer they wait to file charges, and this includes Donald Trump. the closer and better are the chances that Hillary Clinton has some sort of serious bodily disaster and she passes away from natural causes. Eric Holder is not old enough to be sick like that. So they're hoping you'll just forget about Eric Holder. See, Donald Trump and George W. Bush have a lot more in common than you would think. Because now Donald Trump is giving you just what you want. He is going, and I said this with Obama. I said it with Obama. I said, if Obama, I said a lot of things about Mr. Obama, things I can't repeat, things that people call me disgusting and a disgusting human being for. I said Obama wanted martial law in America, and his divisiveness between the races were trying to bring that about. I was right. Okay. He almost created that enough melodrama to create martial law. Had Hillary Clinton got elected, she would have opened up the borders. And then there would be martial law, which is what the New World Order wants. There would be martial law because of all the illegals causing all the crime against innocent and people that don't even have the ability to defend themselves for the most part. You know, a lot of people in America don't have guns, and they would be afraid to use them. That turn the other cheek that you get from the church. Oh, you should, if something is happening to a member of your family, the Pope, he's praying that God will give you strength to forgive the perpetrator. That's all bullshit. The Pope collecting money and turning it into gold bullion and then receiving it at the Vatican and then pretending to be the intermediary between God and man. That's all bullshit. You can honestly pray to God, whatever this entity that we call God is, in the privacy of your own home, on the way to work, inside a machine or next to a machine that you might operate. You can pray to God anywhere, and your prayers are probably going to be more beneficial to you than the Pope praying for the whole world. Because the Pope praying for the world, he forgot about all the children that were molested since 1955, and they paid out $5 billion, above $5 billion in cash monies that are public. Maybe another $10 billion in cash, because how does the church get their cash? It's cash. Cash, baby. There's no recollection or reconnoitering of how much money the church gets. They could pay off anybody. About 6 or 7 years ago, there were 200 children that were molested. It was a case of 200 children, and the church paid off, I think, $189 million to shut them up, put a gag order on 200 children. It goes on every day. And these are the people that control the world. In England, honey, don't make that too loud, please. In England, you want the headphones, honey? Here's the headphones. In England, I don't remember because I don't follow English politics at all, but so many politicians, I think it was England or Britain, I don't even know the difference between England and Britain. That's how much I pay attention to their politics, other than the mayor. That's pretty much whatever the mayor is of whatever town, and I forget that too. Whatever that mayor did to England or Britain, a lot of people are upset. But digressing back, there were so many politicians, either in England or Great Britain, which is probably the same thing. We're close. Okay, there were so many politicians that were being or potentially charged with child molestation, they had to drop the charges against everybody. Okay? There are so many people in the church that were being charged recently. They had to tell the news media to stop. And now there are so many illegal immigrants coming into the country and being helped into the country by the church and other Christian organizations backed by whomever. But everybody else out, everybody else out, everybody else out. It's George Soros behind it all. But what about George Soros's children? No, you don't hear about that. And the reason why? Because George Soros, for whatever his involvement, is old. So the news media is using this as an out. When George Soros dies, so does all the corruption. But what about the thousands of people that work for George Soros? See, that doesn't die. Only George Soros, at this advanced age, can die at any moment. And then all of the hype about the Soros Foundation disappears. This is the plan. Just like Donald Trump has a plan. And now we're going to talk about Donald Trump. I said last week in 3 different live streams that Trump was not going to the first 2 live streams I did about Donald Trump. He was not going to stop those people from coming into America. The lies that surrounded him stopping those people were as follows, okay? There was 1,000 people when certain outlets said there were 4,000 people. Then there were 2,000 people where certain news outlets said there were 7,000 people. Then there was never 6,000 people. It went straight to the magic number 7. The Illuminati, 7. The 7 of the Masons, 7th letter of the alphabet. The God, the number that represents God. It's 7,000. So it went from 2,000 to 4,000, which equals 6, or whatever that means. I don't think it means anything. But then it went to 7. But by the way, 6 and 7, 4 and 2 is 6, and 7 is 13. So here we have 4 and 2, which is 6, and then the magic, which is the evil number. And then we have the magic number 7, which is the God number, and the number of the G for Masonry, if it means that. And then we have 6 and 7 equals 13, folks. Okay? 13. Okay, so you have, come on, don't you see what's going on? Okay, so moving back. Now it moved up to 7,000, 7,000, 7,000, 7,000. Hasn't changed. It went from 2 to 4 to 7, and now that there are, the Caravan was supposed to have gone up to 20,000 at some point. Caravan number 1, almost guaranteed 14,000, and another possibly 6,000 more people in the second Caravan. That's 20,000. You're still hearing the number 7,000 until just recently. Now, if you don't think that the world is controlled by a certain entity that controls Israel as much as it controls the Vatican and as much as it controls the square mile of London, the banking industry, as much as it controls the United States government, well, then you're just stone stupid. You are just stone stupid if you don't believe that there's a higher echelon of people. Now, you think they're people. I think they're not so much human as they are something else. I wouldn't call them aliens, because I doubt very much that aliens would need to put on this facade. If in fact there was alien that wanted to take over, an alien race that wanted to take over this world, they sure don't need politicians. If they came to this world from another planet, even if they're only 100 years more advanced than we are, what could What could the American Indians do against our current military? Nothing. And that's only 100 years ago, 125 years ago. So if the aliens came here, they don't need politicians. So it's another form of energy or entity. Okay. It's in my book, Angels on the Ark. I wrote all about it, and I proved that by and large, the face of the New World Order is the Vatican, the Illuminati, the Masons, the Vatican, the Skull and Bones, all have their symbols on the US $1 bill. All of those symbols are discussed in my book, Angels on the Ark by Michael Fazio. 1,990 pages of undisputed truth. 4,000 books sold, 1,990 pages was the original ebook. I think as a Kindle reader, it went down to 1,700 pages through Amazon.com for $1.99. Okay? If you want to see the connection between the Vatican and the Illuminati and the Bank of England and the United States government, it's all in my book. And in 8 years now, I have a $10,000 challenge. Prove me wrong. Nobody has ever taken the challenge because I am correct. There's just Google the $10,000 Fazio challenge. I proved the Vatican on the face of the issue controls America because of the pictographs on the dollar bill. Now, moving back to Donald Trump, which we keep moving back to Donald Trump, but we're going to go back to Donald Trump again. I said he would never send those people back in the first 2 videos I made live streams about Donald Trump. I said he'd never send them back. I said it was all a facade. And I said what he's going to do is he's going to vet them at the border, which is now impossible. But that's what I said. Okay? I said he was going to vet them at the border because he said he would turn those back. And you have to read between the lines because he's now a politician. And by definition, politicians are political animals and they lie. They lie to get what they want. They lie to get what they need. And they lie to trick you into believing that what they want and need is good for you. I said that Donald Trump might stop them, but he would never turn them back because he said he would do everything in the power of the law. And the law is that he has to let them in if they are interviewed and found in need. That was his political out. And that's what he did 3 days after my second live stream. It's on, there's a link from the LA Times discussing it. And 3 hours before that article came out or any other article on the topic, I had already done the live stream telling you what I just told you. He's going to follow the law. He's going to follow the law. But now, then he said he's going to need 800 troops. That's ridiculous. The border is 2,000 miles. The statistics are amazing what 800 troops could do. Nothing. Then he said a few thousand. Nothing could few thousand. Then he said 5,000. Nothing can 5,000 troops do. Nothing. Even with the other ice, they could do nothing. There's millions of square miles. Literally. It's 2,000 miles wide. It goes back several miles. So you're already talking about 14,000 square miles. But it goes back to Honduras and Venezuela. These people are coming. They're going to get into the country, and they're all going to collect $1.2 or $1.3 million from the day they get into the country. After they are vetted, the military is going to stop them. They're going to put them in. Oh, that Donald Trump is going to build tents for them. What do you think that's going to cost? Why aren't the American veterans being housed in these military tents? Because that's not the plan. The plan is to put the illegals that are coming across the border illegally in the tents, feed them, house them, supply them medical necessities, but not for the veterans. They could have given these tents to the veterans. They could have given them to the American homeless. That they didn't do that because they don't care about you. They never cared about you, and they're never going to care about you. It ain't never going to happen. That's what they want. They want you to think they care about you. If they cared about you, American homeless, American handicapped, American veterans, veterans of war, all military personnel that are homeless now would be housed in these tents that they're now giving to the illegal immigrants because they don't care about the American veterans. They don't care about the American homeless. And each illegal person that comes into this country is going to cost $1.3 million to support over the next 20 years. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. The children, $26,000 a year for 12 years. Education only, $300,000. Another $10,000 a year, $36,000 per child. Add another $5,000 for miscellaneous foods and clothing and stuff. Let's just go $40,000 per child per year for 20 years is $800,000. I lowered the numbers from last time. It's easier to do the math with the lower numbers. It's still $800,000 for each illegal immigrant that comes into this country. Here's the kicker. The average American making, let's say the average American makes $1,500 a week. And they take home $800 a week. Well, that comes out to $8, $16, $24, $3,200 a month take home. Each illegal immigrant takes home $3,850 in benefits and dental and rentals and foods. And if they lose their food stamps, they get another batch. And if they have 2 or 3 names with 1 letter difference, the people in the offices that take care of the illegals and their food and stamp programs, they just give them another batch of food stamps or whatever. You don't get it. They are changing the face of America, and Donald Trump is going to help them do it. He went from he's going to turn them back, they're not coming in, to we're going to vet them. With if they try to cross the border illegally in between the portals, like San Diego and Los Angeles, in between the portals, we're going to turn them back. Doesn't mean they're going to pick them up in a helicopter and fly them back to their home country. No, it just means they can't come in. They can walk another 30 miles to a legitimate entrance, and they get processed there. And then they get processed within 20 days, and then they get released into America. And then they start costing you $3,850 a month. Now, if you would please, as you can see, I'm very calm, cool, and relaxed today. I have had so much of this. Donald Trump is this, and Donald Trump is that. Donald Trump is a face, one of many faces of the New World Order. And when Donald Trump this morning decided to say, we're going to put 15,000 troops on the border, I had enough of this nonsense. Okay? This can only lead to the faster processing and vetting of the people that come. It could lead to the removal of the criminals, because the news is telling you there are no criminals in 14,000 people. I don't care where you go in the world. Grab 14,000 people out of movie theaters, out of an amusement park. You're going to find criminals in there. It's going to happen. But the news says no criminals. Bullshit. Donald Trump says there's criminals, and the news says that's bullshit. The truth is that you are getting bullshitted. That's the truth. Now I'm going to go to the comments. Give me a moment to change my attire. I'm going to sit right now, honey. Okay. I'm a little thirsty. That was 35 minutes. You try to do this for 35 minutes. Got to have a good heart, baby. You got to have heart, and you got to have what they call in the Philippines, you got to have it looks. That's right. I get these people, you don't know what I get people telling me I don't know how to operate heavy equipment. It's all I've done my whole life is operate heavy equipment. I got a guy, some clown. This is what you got to endure. This is where the three rivers of YouTube meet, folks. Because I put multiple teeth on my backhoe, I got this jerk off that came to my channel, told me I don't know how to dig rock. Me. I owned a crane, barge, and marine excavation company. I owned a land crane and a land pile driver excavation company. Then I owned a backhoe and bobcat and drilling and septic tank installation excavation company and deforestation, or what we call landscaping company, that allowed me to deforest, acres of land if I chose. But this guy comes on and tells me that the teeth doesn't have enough breakout force. So do you think I don't know that? Do you think I built the bucket by accident? I built the bucket on my machine to scratch up the coral to create substrate that will blend from dust to 3 to 5 inch pieces of rock for hard pack. And then when I mix in a little limestone or lime, it will become hard pack, real hard pack. So from my excavations, I'm creating the substrate for hard pack. But this guy says, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So no, I've owned crane barges, tugboats, pile drivers, marine pile drivers, land pile drivers, land cranes, backhoes, bobcats, drilling rigs, dump trucks, and all the miscellaneous support equipment that goes between it. And he comes on my channel and tells me I don't know about excavation. This is the three rivers of YouTube. This is where bullshit meets bullshit meets bullshit. So what did I do? What did I say about that? I said, if you have the time, make a video, include your face in the video, your licensing numbers or the name of your companies. Name of my companies were Michael Fazio, general contractor. And in Florida, well, and then I had Custom Decks and Docks was another business that I had. And then I had Zola Contracting. Okay, these are the companies that I own. And then in Florida, On Time Backhoe, One Time Backhoe. Okay, I had these companies all licensed to do big work under any conditions. And this guy comes on. So I said to the guy, this is what I say to you people from three rivers of YouTube. Put your face in a video. Show me your equipment like I show you my equipment. And anybody that's new here, go Google Michael Fazio's real job. Michael Fazio's real job. Michael Fazio's real job. And you will see all of those construction companies. There are hundreds of videos in that on Google, not YouTube, Google. You can do it on Google, on YouTube too. But this guy comes and tells me he knows more about excavation than I do, has no videos, no pictures, doesn't say he's a dock builder or a heavy equipment operator. Just, yeah, I don't know what you do. One tooth would dig more. Yeah, one tooth would dig faster. But that's a single tooth, what we call a rake. I don't have one of those. So I built a bucket. But this is what you people, the three rivers of YouTube, your opinion counts, just not much. And now I will sit down. Scott Del Fuego looked up my licenses. He just made a comment. All right, so what do we have? Sasha. Yeah, baby. The problem with your statement, Sasha, telling people to lick my itloads, I can't say that because once I told somebody to kiss my itloads, and I damn near had a proposition to get married to the boy. I thought I was serious. Sasha, you could get me in more trouble than it's worth, my friend. You got to be careful what you tell somebody to come here and kiss your itloads. They want your address. They've already put. They're telling you they got lipstick. They're putting lipstick on. They're on their way. Got to be careful here, buddy. This is the Philippines. Havoc Master. Steve, I don't know how to make you live. Can you tell me how to make you live? Okay, I'm going through these comments, all extraneous comments, people I don't know, people that are not on my Patreon account, people that are not long-term subscribers. I'm not going to respond to your comments. You know, you people want me to respond. If I responded to every comment, it would be 2 hours of responses, so I'm not going to do that. If you're not a member of my Patreon community, hello, sir. From Sasha's a great guy. Sasha's a real man, by the way. He's a real man. That man gets up. He goes out and loads trucks and cars on flatbeds and hauls them across the country. And he does this by himself. He might wear gloves. He might not wear gloves. Probably he does. Anybody that's smart. But if he didn't have gloves, he would put the chains on, risking his limbs and fingers at 3 o'clock in the morning through rainstorms, going out and checking to make sure everything's lashed down. Sasha's a real man. There's real men out there, just not many. This guy Page High, how did I lose my first channel? Who are you exactly? You have no name. You have no videos that I know of. You have no channel, and I'm going to explain to you how I lost my first channel. Tell you what, buddy, you want to know things about me and you want to know about my past? The videos are on my Patreon account. Sign up and you can see all my old videos that are available. And then, as a member of Patreon, I will give you the courtesy of answering personal questions. After I know who you are, after I have your telephone number, after I have your address, after I know who you are and who I'm talking to, I will answer your personal questions. Other than that, I suggest you ask other people that wish to display all their public information on YouTube to some guy named Page High. Now, I know your name, but you don't deserve an answer from me. You have done nothing for me that I know of. So I will do nothing for you in return. Bad attitude? There are other channels to watch. Go watch the other channels. Don't ask personal questions on the internet unless you're willing to put your boys out there on the internet and tell everybody about your life story. Thank you very much. Hi, John. Good morning, John Parrish. Havoc Master. Steve. He can't and has to by the law. I don't know what that have me online. I don't know what that comment means. What link is there to send, Steve? Steve, I'll have you on, but I need to know what link there is to send. I don't know which link is it the link at the top? No. Where is the link? I'll go down to the bottom of, thank you. Okay. Steve, you're a member of my Patreon community. I actually don't want people as members of my Patreon community to do super chats. But I will have a hamburger on Steve. All right. Thank you, Life in the Philippines, for your well wishes. Havoc Master, you're right. He never said he was going to turn them back. He said they're not coming in. And as a politician, he told you the truth. They're not coming in illegally, but he's not bringing them back. He's not sending them back to their point of origin. There's so much bullshit coming out of Donald Trump's mouth and the news, it's almost impossible to keep track. So theoretically, he may have not said he's sending them back. He said they're not coming in. I believe he said they're going back in the beginning 3 weeks ago, which is 10 million pieces of information ago. And he said they won't be turned loose before trial. So how much, Steve? How much do you think, my friend, how much do you think that 15,000 soldiers and another $1 billion worth of equipment shipped to the border, planes, helicopters, trucks, rail cars, C-130s, all those, how much do you think that's going to cost a day? And why aren't they giving that money to the veterans? And I'm not a veteran. Okay? I'm not a veteran. I don't even, never wanted to join the military. It was never part of my wish. I wanted to be a jet mechanic. And I did get drafted for Vietnam. And then Nixon killed the draft the week I had to sign up and choose the service I was going into, which was the Air Force as a jet mechanic. I already had my A&P, but I never had any desire to be in the service. But the people that are in the service deserve special privileges. What they're doing is right or wrong is a side issue. They deserve to have housing and clothes and food. They deserve that much. And they're not getting it. They're not getting the service that they deserve. But now they're giving it to the Mexicans and the other illegals. What's wrong with this country? Good morning, Scott. Thank you for the. That's about Scott is a wordsmith. Ha! Tomato and mayonnaise sandwiches. I remember that video. On my way to the. I think I was on my way to the Philippines. Turkey, lettuce, and tomato. Scott Del Fuego. You can look up my FAA licenses. That would be no problem. They're there. A and P. One was gotten in 1973, my power plant, and my airframe, I think I got that in 1975. Blue Rose, good morning, good evening. Thank you. Blue Rose is another member of my Patreon account, which is why I address the people that I am addressing. And I do have many videos from the 1980s, even videos of what I wanted my future to look like, talking on a beach behind my other house in America. Thank you, Blue Rose. Just Google Michael Fazio. Michael Fazio's with an S, real job. Michael Fazio's real job. You people out there that want to critique me, that's okay. I don't care, because you'll never, ever prove anything that I say to be an absolute outright lie. That ain't never going to happen. If I tell you something that's not true, it's because every piece of information I've read pointed to the direction of what I said, and that wasn't true. So I can only go by what I read, but I discern and extrapolate all the different parts of all these messages they have on the, because now I'm injured and I can't work. So now I'm spending 10, 11 hours a day watching videos, making videos, and doing research on other things. I have a good understanding. Okay, so the link is in my live chat. Where? Okay, Steve. I don't know where the link is, Steve. In my live chat. Somebody want to explain? Go to, okay, wait. Okay, Steve, go back to the live tracks, live settings, and send me the link. It is there. Then send it to my email. They are not getting in. Thank you, Scott. Okay. All right. How do I get back? All right, Steve. I'm gonna try to figure this out. How do I get back to my live? Let me open up another window here. I'll go to videos. Honey, Daisy, yeah. Help me with this, please. Live streaming, right? Okay. Yeah. We're looking for the live streaming link to send Steve. I'm looking for the link to send Steve. Okay, wait. Okay, here we are. We have the live control room. Okay, hold on, Steve. We're looking for some link. Steve, I'm on this page. Broadcast alert, sales insertion, send feedback, the stream is good, start encoder, preview stream, live control room, cards, ingest in settings, info and settings. Hold on, I'm going to info and settings. All right, Steve, you're going to have to ingesting settings. I don't see where this link is. Do you see it, Daisy? No. What's no? Okay. All right. Yes. You see a link? No. Choose maximum. No, that's not it. Okay. All right. Look. Steve. From where I started the live stream is what I'm looking at on the window, Steve. Okay, well, if I go to close this down, I'll probably lose the stream. Anyway, look in Hangouts. You say these things like I know where this is. Okay, if you're using YouTube camera, it has not that option. Okay, I'm using
Camera, not the Hangouts.
You know what? I'm going to do another live stream tomorrow, Steve. I will call you after this live stream, and you can explain to me how to do this because I don't, I don't know how to do that. I never wanted anybody else on. Not that I don't want you on. Of course, you're welcome to come on, but I just never. I have a live control room. I'm going to go there and look for another minute. Stop streaming. Preview player. Health is good. Average duration. Send feedback. No. Broadcast alert. I'm losing. Now I don't know where it is, Steve. I'll call you after this. Okay. Yeah, wouldn't that be easier, Scott? Isn't that what I asked for? Somebody explained to me how to get there, but it's different on other people's phones or computers. Okay, so does anybody have a question in regards to was anybody have any information in regards to what 15,000 troops a day cost? Come on. Does anybody have any idea what's actually going on? Why is it still 7,000 people on some broadcasts? You know, the United States government, they just lie to you. Really not much more what I could say. What can I say? I don't know what 15,000. What the planes cost 7,000, $10,000 an hour to be in the air with the equipment on them. The trains probably cost $100,000 an hour to transport the equipment. By the time all the personnel and that they have to carry people and feed people and latrine people, this is a nightmare. And I believe that the long run is headed towards martial law. Now that's a stretch from where we are right now, but if enough people in America get disgusted with Donald Trump and these people. Oh, let's talk about how many illegal immigrants are in America. How many illegal immigrants are in America? For many years, going back 15 years, there was 2 million or 3 million illegals. Then around 2010, during Obama's reign of terror, it went up to about 6 million illegals. Then, somewhere after that, 2014 or so, it went up to 11 million illegals, and it didn't change until just recently. And but the statistics always said it was going to be somewhere between 22 and 30 million. Okay, but now Trump just said it could be as high as 30 million, and that means it's higher than 30 million. They're not telling you the truth about anything. And there could be, Steve said there could be. Scott says troops are paid and fed anyway. That's true. But then there's only I'm sure that there's another expense to set up housing for the troops and to move them, and they probably get like something called what they call active duty, which is a small amount more, a pittance amount more in your pay. But moving those trucks. You know, when I had my equipment moved, it was $500 to move it 100 miles. Now, I don't know what the military costs, but you got to remember the equipment that moves the military equipment doesn't ever wear out. They just keep buying new equipment. They're talking about billions and billions of dollars. And then the fuel for the aircraft and the maintenance on those bigger jets roughly costs $10,000 an hour for maintenance and fuel. And there's thousands of hours. It's $1 billion he just spent, hands down, several billion by the end of the month, the end of November. That money could have went to much better things. Now, civil war is more like it, Steve says. I believe that martial law, civil war will, okay, I believe that enough people are going to revolt. You know what makes me sick? Let me tell you what makes me sick, okay? Trump and Michael Savage and Michael Rivero and that other Dutch bag, Alex Jones, they all said that Trump was going to end rioting in the streets, and he did no such thing. He did no such thing. This is the plan to create civil unrest and eventually martial law. The only way they can control this population is to have martial law. They already tested it out under Obama's regime where I lived in Florida. They came around telling everybody they had to give up their guns in the panhandle. And they knew who had guns. That people were mandatory to have to open up their gun vaults and safes and give the military their guns, which they never got back, by the way. So if you had a $10,000 pistol or rifle or, a combination thereof, they just took it and never gave it back. They said they lost it. It was lost in paperwork. It cost you more for a lawyer to get the guns back than you never got the guns back. They want your guns. This is all part of a much bigger plan. Blue Rose, I agree. This feels like a convenient pretext for martial law. Obama fanned the flames of division, and now Donald Trump is playing his part as the clown who acts like he is going to do something. And there you have it in a nutshell. Trump never stopped the riots. He never sent in the troops in I don't even know the names of the places that there were riots. I don't follow that kind of crap. It's not something I would follow. But when one person runs over somebody with a car, all of a sudden, that's the biggest outrage in America. 300 people have been killed in Chicago. Does Trump care about those people? No, he doesn't. Rahm Emanuel, he's the mayor. Go Rahm. Does Rahm Emanuel care about those 300 people? No, he doesn't. Does Congress care about? No, they don't care about you. They don't care about Chicago. They don't care about peace in the streets. In fact, they're counting on just the opposite. Any excuse to bring in this martial law brings them one step closer to the New World Order. And that's what it looks like to me. Now, if I'm wrong about that, I can't prove that, but I sure can prove that this is a path in the right direction. And then the Pope coming out for the last several years saying that he wants a one world government. It's all collapsing in on the American government. I suggest if you want to see what their real plan is, I suggest you start reading just one PDF file called Report from Iron Mountain. Capital letters, Report from Iron Mountain PDF, period. It's a PDF format. Tells you what they're going to do. Tells you how they can create martial law, but how it tells you to create martial law, it tells you how to create martial law by how to prevent martial law. So everything that you don't prevent creates martial law. tells you how to stop pollution and what the pollution could be, and everything that they say the pollution could be is what's now happening. Report from Iron Mountain. Ah, man, I hate this glasses thing. Okay, so Blue Rose. That's right, Blue Rose. See, that's, I don't want to voice that opinion because it makes me sound like I'm crazy. I might be crazy, but I'm not stupid. Being that this foot of my injury is not healed up yet, which I showed it in my live stream 2 days ago, and I just made a video on my Patreon account what my foot looks like after 3 months. I believe what Blue Rose is saying is correct. If the Mexicans and Latins and all the gang members that are already in here, Donald Trump lies about everything. You just don't hear the other side of the story. Donald Trump said that he cured dismembered, I think it was ISIS or the Taliban near Syria, and they just killed 40 people. See, now that kind of news I don't really care about. Syria is not where I live and not where I live. I don't really care about that. So I only read the article. But Donald Trump told you that it's all but been eliminated. But it hasn't been. He lies. He's a politician. He's a political animal. By definition, politicians are political animals. So if what Blue Rose says is true and there is chaos in the street, then martial law becomes imminent. Is that what he wants? Donald Trump, per se? Probably not. Is that what he is told might happen? Definitely yes. And if it happens, it's just part of the future agenda of this world. They want your guns. And they're going to take the guns away from the law-abiding citizens, and the only people that'll have guns are criminals. That's the plan. That's always been the plan. And it always will be the plan until they get your guns and turn America into what Donald Trump, quote unquote, Donald Trump calls a shithole country. That's where you're headed. Because if they let all these people in, 20,000 people, and those people cause chain migration. You see, back in 2008, McCain and Dick Durbin wanted this DACA program to take off. And it allows the children to come in and become citizens, and they in turn can bring their family. But family is not dictated to mother or father or brother or sister. It's grandmother, it's cousin, it's nephew, because they bring the mother and father in, and then the mother and father can bring their brother and sister in. So one anchor baby or one DACA recipient that receives legal American status can bring in 100 people. I have videos on this dating back to 2010 in drives I have back in America that I can't get. I'm going to put up my old videos. Some of them are on my Patreon account, but I said this shit back in 2010. I already had the videos made before I uploaded to my first YouTube channel. Pads 46 adds to Scott Del Fuego's comment. Okay, so if Pads 46 is correct, and they probably are, that some of the troops, especially the generals and the higher echelon of the troops, are going to be put up in hotels. Well, they're going to be paid their regular salary, but at an additional $100 a day per person, maybe $200 a day per person, depending on their room and their meals. It's going to cost billions by the end of this month. If the American taxpayer ever knew what this was going to cost, and instead of giving these benefits, this monies to the veterans, they're going to spend it on tents and military personnel for these the illegal caravans, which are now numbering 3, and Trump says there could be as much as 20,000. Well, that means there's 30,000. They never give you the right number. Beyond Idaho, the truth isn't the truth. Giuliani. Yeah, I could tell you stories about Rudolph Giuliani right across the street from my house, okay? And what went on. You'd get sick. But first, I have some things to do in New York. Scott Del Fuego. A girl dressed as Hillary Clinton came trick-or-treating. Ah, I don't know what to say about that, Scott. That's amazing. If someone is that mentally deranged to buy a costume like that. Ah, census 2000. Better spent here than bombing innocent Arabs for Israel. Now that I agree with. That I agree with. All wars are for nobody could ever come up with a real reason for the wars that are going on now in this today's world. Why can't they just talk it out? There's nothing. They don't want to talk it out. They just want to sell war equipment, bombs, fuel. You know that the people that make something as simple as the paint for the military equipment probably earn $100 million a year as the owner of the paint company that sells paint to the military. The paint to the military is much better than paint you can buy. Some of it has red lead in it. Some of it has other compounds that you can't put into paint. Toluene solvents that you can't buy in regular paint, like certain types of aircraft paint. Just the guy that makes the paint for the military, the CEO of there's probably a dozen different corporations that make paint. I bet you the CEOs make excess of $100 million a year. This is big business. And then what do they do with all this equipment? They'll auction it off for pennies on the dollar when it's done. They're not going to transport most of the stuff back. This stuff's going to be out there in the desert for several months. So yeah, census 2000, I agree with you. Ah, Scott's giving us a little bit. Yeah, Sasha. Now there's an interesting topic. Why would you? That's what I said. Beyond that, there's no proof of anything. It's just what the paper says, what Trump says, what these walking, talking pieces of fecal tissue in Congress and the Senate. It's what they say. It's all bullshit. Only 48 shootings and 5 murders last week in Chicago, Chirac, as Scott calls it. You can see the stats for Chicago shootings. Scott left the way that you can present the link at all one word, 3 double us dot hey jackass in one word .com. Okay, so when the video is over, you'll be able to put that link on the page itself, Scott. I'll just, if it doesn't go through, it'll go into my spam folder and I'll approve it. How do I feel about the Jews getting murdered at the synagogue in Pittsburgh? That's a trick question, right? That's a trick question. Is that what you're trying to do? Trick me into saying something stupid? One thing that I can tell you about the Jews that got murdered in Pittsburgh is they're getting way too much media attention, which has taken the brunt of the news cycle off of Trump, and he loves that. He doesn't want people to thinking about what he's doing. He'd rather see people going to a funeral and mourn. I think it's all planned so that anything that they don't want to be registered in the people's minds, they come up with. Is it important, the Jews being murdered at the synagogue? It is, but it's nothing compared to sending 15,000 troops to the border. The news lies. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, you know, I don't even know if I'm right. I just see it like this. And Scott has an advantage of listening to my crazy videos from back in 2000. You know, I have the most politically incorrect videos in the history of YouTube when it comes to Mr. Obama and Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman and John McCain and Mr. Obama's buddy. What was that guy named? Larry Sinclair? Larry the limo lover? I have the #1 spot on YouTube about political incorrectness. Me, Michael Fazio. Nobody does what I do because I really don't give a crap. I tell you the truth. And I do it in a comedic fashion. And I do it in a way that you could say I'm crazy and laugh at me. But I'm not wrong. Okay? I'm very rarely am I ever wrong. So Scott says he reconsiders his thought process. I could be wrong. I could be half wrong. I could be 30% wrong. I could be 20% wrong. But you got to look at this point of view. This is going to cost billions of dollars before the end of the month. What they say it costs and what it actually costs are two different things. And I think this money should have been spent on American homeless, poor, and the veterans. That's what I think the money should have been spent on. I don't care that Donald Trump says the money wasn't allocated in the budget. I don't care about that. He should have made it happen, like he should have made voter ID happen 2 years ago. He knew this election was coming up. He knew there was voter fraud in his election, but he didn't do anything about it because voter fraud identification only comes up 3 months before each election. They're playing you like puppets on a string. They want you to think George Soros is behind all of this. But some of his money, it goes to the Catholic charities, and the Jewish charities, which in turn house the illegal immigrants, and they charge the American government $200 a day to house some of these immigrants per person. They put them up in hotel rooms. They buy entire hotels. They don't buy it. They rent entire hotels where the room rate was $150 a night plus food. Now the Catholic charities rent the hotel and then they charge the government $350 a night for each illegal that has a room there. This is what's going on. It's a billion-dollar industry. Thank you, Scott. John Sebring, I don't know what that's in reference to. Closing the border has always been mentioned as part of a larger globalist plan. Not true. I don't think that's true. Might have been mentioned as we're going to close the border with a big wink, but I don't think they ever meant to close the border because they never did it. So I think it's that double speak that George Orwell spoke about. I think it's border closing is double speak, never going to close the border, in fact. And they never did. And now look where we are. 15,000 troops? I bet you that's just the beginning. How long? Months, maybe years. At $1 billion plus a month for logistics, that could have went to the veterans. Why? Because they don't care about the veterans. Their usefulness has been used. They don't care about the poor in the streets. They don't care about the people in Chicago. I would prefer to see the money go to the poor in Chicago, but not the way they give it out. They would have to be, you want to make money? We'll provide you with a factory that you can work in. We'll educate you. We'll build the factory, and then you can come and work in the factory. You have to be on time. You have to pass a drug test. That's how they should be doling out money, but they don't do that. They give junkies needles and allow them to shoot up in hospitals, safe places in hospitals. What do you think that costs the government via the American taxpayer? Millions of dollars a day for all the hospitals where all the drug addicts are allowed. The hospitals could charge any amount of money. This drug addict came in, we cleaned up his arm, we gave him a blood test for AIDS, and we gave him a needle, and we gave him a safe place to shoot his drugs. $5,000 for every one of them. You don't know what it costs. The hospital's not going to tell you, and the government's not going to tell you. But I bet you every one of those people costs realistically $500 to $1,000 every time they walk into the hospital. And why doesn't that money go to people with diabetes where they need insulin or something like that? No. What? They don't care about you. They want you to be gone. I don't know anything. Henry C. I don't know who you are exactly. I remember your name, but it could be any one of 100 Henry C's. I have not heard anything about Duterte having cancer. I hope it's not true. But I don't know. I've not heard anything about. I don't read anything about. I don't read the Filipino news as much as some people do. Local news I'll read about, but Duterte. I'm actually trying to get an audience with President Duterte via the mayor's office, but so far I'm not gonna, and I'm not bullshitting you. I actually have inquired to meet Mr. Duterte. I think that him and I could do great things together for the foreigners in the Philippines. Now, some people think that's a joke, but I think that there are some changes that could be made regarding some things. Okay. And I think that if I could get to speak with Mr. Duterte, just kidding. Okay. So I actually don't take much, I don't put much effort into the Philippines political system. And there's a reason for that. It's against the law, dude. Now, whether or not Mr. Duterte has cancer, I don't know. But as far as Philippines, I might read 5 minutes about the Philippines each week. I hear a lot about what's going on in the Philippines from when I had to do some stuff at the building office last week at the permitting department. I hear a lot of local stuff that's going on. There was some crazy stuff going on not so far from me a few weeks back, but nothing to do with politics. But get involved with Philippines politics. I got involved with American politics, and it turned out I was right. Most other people were wrong. All my premonitions and updates and all my thoughts about Obama and Holder and Clinton, they were all right. Did anybody listen to Michael Fazio? No. And then on top of this crap that I get, no one listens. Scott, Blue Rose, John Parrish, a few, Steve Havoc Master, they listen. But I mean, we're talking about a few hundred people. YouTube and Google just shut off 17,000 updates to 17,000 of my subscribers. My average video 2 years ago was getting between 1,300 and 2,000 views. By the end of the first week, I only had 12,000 subscribers. Now I have 17,500 subscribers, 3,000 Google subscribers, and my average video gets 500 views. Why? Because Google and YouTube are slipping it in long, deep, and dry. But I don't care because my foot is still on the inactive list and I have time. So Google and YouTube can do what they want. It's their company. But now I don't know anything about Mr. Duterte. I probably should know more, but getting involved with Philippines politics is a big no-no in the Philippines. John Sebring, that's right. According to the fella, all right, Trump's never going to build a wall. Ain't never going to happen. He might put up some kind of metal barrier, but he's never going to build the wall that he said. All right, so we're at Henry C. I don't know about Mr. Duterte. John Sebring is right. Something with Rockefeller and another guy that there were 7 nations that they needed to subdue, and they're down to Syria and Iran. I remember that. Are we going to see a red wave? Now, Steve, that's a good question. Now, that thing, I don't watch. Listen, if America doesn't vote for Donald Trump, America is doomed within the next year and a half to 2 years. If they vote for Donald Trump, America is doomed within the next 4 or 5 years. It doesn't matter. The New World Order, the people in charge, they're going to get their way. That's the bottom line. It's going to happen. I'm too old to really for it to make a difference, but it's going to happen. Stopping the invasion is about vetting. Now, sense of 2000, the statement makes sense, but the statement that you just made is total bullshit. In wording, the statement makes perfect sense. It's about vetting. But I got to tell you something. 95% of all criminals in I don't know what the actual number is. I would say 95% of all criminal activity, nobody's ever been arrested in their country of Honduras or El Salvador. So there's no fingerprinting and no records. There's no metadata on these people. How are you going to vet somebody that's never been in the system, that doesn't even have a birth certificate? How are you going to vet them? That's bullshit. What you said should be true, but it's not true. It is true for the American citizen, but then how many people have committed felonies and never gotten caught? Just about everybody I know. So stopping the invasion is about vetting, but the troops can't vet you if they don't have any records. Scott will back me up on that one. Scott, I'm going to allow that link to go through. Scott just provided the link, www.heyjackass.com, for the statistics, crime statistics. Trump will get his wall. All right, I'm going to break this down for you. He may start building a wall. The wall he promised was 18 feet wide and 30 to 40 feet high with trucks and trains on top. He's never going to build that wall. He might build a 40-foot high piece of sheet metal, and that'll take, at the current rate of building, because I don't know you and I went over this in my last video, at the current rate of building at 3 miles per company that's building the wall per year. 3 miles per year. It'll take 700 months. So if he hires 5 companies, it'll take 350 months. If he hires 10 companies, it'll take 70 months to put up a piece of sheet metal 30 feet high, dig a trench, or pound it into the ground. But 70 months is bullshit too. You can't do it in 70 months because some of it's swampland, some of it's mountainous. So it's 3 miles per year. They give you this bullshit story at the border. We got 3 miles done in a year. And if we could continue along this, it's 700 months. So we'll hire 10 companies. It'll be 70 months. That's bullshit. I'm a contractor. I'm a dock builder. I build those walls in my lifetime. Go look at Michael Fazio's Real Job, and you'll see me up on top of those waffle sheets building those walls that Trump is supposed to be building castles with walls. He's putting up sheet metal barriers. Okay. So even if it takes 70 months to put 3 miles per company and there's 10 companies, that ain't going to happen. It's going to be reduced down to about 1 mile a year in some cases, going over mountains and across swamps and rivers. And then you have the wildlife habitats where they have to have a certain amount of go-throughs where there's going to have to be border patrols. Ain't going to happen. Trump is never building the wall he promised. 18 feet wide and 30 feet high. And he's never going to build that. Long before the wall is finished, the United States will have either been dissolved or the problems would have been solved. And I wouldn't count on the latter. Warren H. I've been a member of Michael Fazio's channel since 2012 and have read his book, Angels on the Ark. I've never been offended by anything and entertained and enlightened. If nothing else, it's entertainment. To think that the stuff I say in the book, to think that I would actually put that shit down on paper and then copyright it and publish it as nonfiction, I'd have to be completely insane. But nobody ever challenged anything I ever said, even as the $10,000 Fazio challenge is still valid. Nobody will ever challenge anything in the book or my videos where it says there's a $10,000 challenge. Nobody. Nobody ever will. Nobody can. Nobody ever could. Not the Pope. Not Eric H. Klein from George Washington University. Not Mark Goodacre from Duke University. Those two guys are the go-to guys on the Ark of the Covenant and the Old Testament. They won't challenge my work. Sent them letters. What did they do? They put up a website to report Michael Fazio to the FBI and the CIA and the NSA because they said I threatened their lives because I put a Mattel cat pistol on a piece of paper that was blowing in the wind. They said that was a veiled threat. Those guys are a bunch of sissies. Why couldn't the world's leading expert on the Ark of the Covenant challenge me to what's in my book, stating that the Ark of the Covenant in pictographic format's on the dollar bill? Why? Because I'm smarter than the two world's most leading experts on the Ark of the Covenant. I'm telling you hands down, I am smarter in certain aspects of their field than they could have ever hoped to be. I was the only person in the world that saw the Ark of the Covenant on the dollar bill. And yet, the two world's leading experts, Eric H. Klein and Mark Goodacre, they missed it. And so did 30 trillion other people that looked at the back of the dollar bill and didn't see the Ark of the Covenant. Now, something put it there. It wasn't human, and it wasn't a supercomputer that we have now. It would have to be much more advanced than the computers we have now, and it would have to be of a non-human nature to have that much knowledge to put the pictographs on the dollar bill that are on the dollar bill. That I prove, and that nobody can disprove. So now, I just said that, and I mean it. And I have $10,000 that says you can't prove me wrong. So the book is $1.99. If you cheap bastards are too cheap to spend $1.99, to where maybe it's going to turn out to be a $10,000 win-win for you, then that means you're too stupid to understand the good odds on this. Eric H. Klein, the world's leading expert on the Ark of the Covenant, the go-to guy on the biblical Ark of the Covenant, he won't even take my challenge because I kicked his ass in a public debate on my channel, stating, Eric, come here and debate me. I was even going to rent an auditorium for him to come to, and we would do it in New York. But no, the world's leading expert couldn't see the Ark of the Covenant, so basically I kicked his ass via my book and my videos, because I saw the Ark of the Covenant on the dollar bill, and the world's leading expert on the Ark of the Covenant didn't see the Ark of the Covenant on the dollar bill. Does that make me smarter than him? Hell no. But it makes me be able to say Michael Fazio is the discoverer of the Ark of the Covenant on the $1 bill. And it perfectly coincides with the book of Exodus on how to build the Ark of the Covenant, right down to the dimensions, right down as a scaled down drawing. The Ark of the Covenant's on the back of the dollar bill, including the poles of shittim wood, including the rings that hold the poles of shittim wood, including the Holy of the Holies, or the mercy seat where the Lord God sits, where the word one is. That represents the Lord God. The 4 and 20 elders. I am the only person in the world that knows where the 4 and 20 elders are on the dollar bill. It took me a year and a half to find them, but I found them. They're on the dollar bill. And they're worshiping the Lord God both day and night. It was one of the most complicated pictographs I ever broke. Anyway, back to Mr. Trump. Thanks, Warren. Havoc Master, my thoughts on Trump's tariffs to China. Man, I don't know how that affects me, so I don't actually read about it. As far as I'm concerned, they should double the tariffs on China, but I don't know how they're going to how it's going to affect America. They need to do something. Back in the 80s, when I was bringing my barge company back from Traverse City, Michigan to New York, I was going down. I had to go through Detroit, and I stopped in one of the steel mills. I ported for the night, and I ordered fuel in a truck. And I was in a steel mill. I took 2 days off to sleep. I was in a steel mill. I walked around it for days. Billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of equipment just left idle, shut off, and turned to rust. Now, I don't know when they shut that steel mill down. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of tons of steel shot that they were going to use for for melting iron, smelting. So they need to bring back jobs and stop giving out welfare. Build a factory and say, you need money, you work for it. You do drugs, you get no money. Philip Gaynor, yes, the Catholic Church is aiding and abetting the illegals. I live on the border, and the news covers it here. They are requesting the people here to shelter them. Yeah, right. Like you're going to put these illegals in your house. They're going to rob your silverware and your jewelry. Not all of them, but not most of them will. Scott says, Warren, he's still trying to digest the book. My book, Angels on the Ark, is what Scott's talking about. Every time he reads a chapter, he ends up learning something. My chapters break down the book of Genesis and the book of Revelation and show you that on the dollar bill, the words in the book of Genesis and the words in the book of Revelation directly correlate to the pictographs on the dollar bill. You can't see, because you don't understand pictography. It's a whole science in and of itself. Maybe I'm the world's leading expert on pictography, certainly on the dollar bill. I broke a codices in the Bible between the Bible and the dollar bill that no scholar on earth, no 1,000 scholars on earth could have broke. I broke it. Did I get credit for it? I should be richer than George Soros. Maybe not George Soros, but I should be richer than Warren Buffett. Maybe not Warren Buffett. I should definitely be worth more money than Donald Trump for my discovery. I don't care if he's worth 11 billion or 3 billion. I should have more money than Donald Trump for my discovery and proof that the Ark of the Covenant is on the dollar bill. The Yale Skull and Bones logos from their inner sanctum is on the dollar bill, and the hog-nose, H-O-G, hog-nose bats on the dollar bill, which was the Skull and Bones original logos back 200 years ago, was on the dollar bill, and the Great Horned Owl, which is the Bohemian Groves pictograph, is on the dollar bill. I, Michael Fazio, made those discoveries. Everybody else can go suck taffy. That's what you can do. You can all go suck on a piece of Turkish taffy. I am one of the smartest people that has ever lived when it comes to the Bible and what it really means and what I depict it to mean in the book and the Bible's relationship to the US $1 bill. I broke their code. I should be so famous. Steven Spielberg should be throwing his granddaughters at me, which would be about 30. They're in their 30s right now. That would be a good thing. He should be whining and dining me on Lear jets to give him the rights to my book and movie deal. But they're not going to do it. Why? Because if they took my book serious and it went worldwide and global as a non-fiction book, you would tear down the Vatican and the White House and every other political institution of this world that you think is in your favor. They are not in your favor. The Vatican controls America, and I proved it to be true. But this video will get 500 views. Thank you very much, Mr. Google and Mr. YouTube. Wait, they just slipped it in deep and hard. They just slipped it in deep and hard. From wherever they are, Mr. Google and Mr. YouTube are watching. Oh, it felt like a 4x4. Lots of high-level thinking in that book. Thank you, Scott. Give more welfare money, and it just ends up being more money traded 20 cents on the dollar for cigarettes and liquor. Right. I agree. They should not give these people any money. Build a huge facility. Put homes on it. Put garages on it for their cars and put a building on it where they can learn how to build kitchen cabinets for Home Depot. Metalwork, refurbish, paint cars, anything. Give them a job. Don't give them $1 for welfare. If they're able to walk, I tell the people in the street, unfortunately, it's against the law to give people food in the street. People walk up to me, they're 20-year-old kid. I watched the kid walk down the block like a normal kid, and then he goes like that. You don't know who you're giving welfare to or handouts to. I don't give it out because it's against the law. But I saw this boy walk down the block just like walking like a regular person. And then the next day, I was taking a jeepney, and he's like this, like that. They call him the Bujao. You don't know who you're giving money to. It's all a scam. Oh, I hurt my back. I can't work for 20 years. It's a scam. Don't give them money. They got a bad back. Put them in a nice lounge chair. Let them do something with their hands. But don't give them money for free. Jack Thompson, good morning. Good evening, Jack. Okay, you guys can have a conversation between yourself. Census 2000 and Joe Mack. Really, it's not exactly part of my program for today, but if you have a question about the border or about something related to the border, feel free to ask. Beyond Idaho, Trump will be indicted and threatened with impeachment. He will send his minions into the streets after the bloodshed. Trump will declare martial law. Got to be. I don't see it. I guess anything is possible, but I don't see it. Jack Thompson. Well, actually, I have a request in to meet Mr. Duterte. So that's the truth. Okay, I can't show you the emails and I haven't gotten a response. The reason I haven't gotten a response is because this is a holiday week, and listen, you send an email to somebody in the Philippines, you go on the site and look up the telephone number to any agency in the Philippines and call it, see what happens. You ask them, is this the Bureau of Tourism? Is this the Bureau of Tourism? Yes, sir. Okay. May I speak with John? John, the man who's in charge of the office. There's no John here. What do you mean? I spoke with him yesterday. He's supposed to get back to me on a request I have to speak with the people in charge to get an interview with Mr. Duterte. No, we don't know. We don't have a John here, sir. What number are you calling? And I give them the number. That's the right number. Sorry, sir. And then they hang up. They don't tell you, maybe we can help you. They just hang up. So you call back again. A different person answers the phone, so you have to approach it in a different way. Look, I'm looking for John, and this is the building I went into. Yesterday, I spoke with John in this building. There was another girl named Sorrel in this building. Is this? Oh, no, sir. That's a different building. Do you have their number? No, sir. But you can look it up online. And you look it up online, and it's the number that you're calling. The Philippines is not America. It's not so easy to get stuff done here. Yeah, all right, polarize. Have at whatever you want to say. Polarize. You know what I'm on? Polarize. Yeah, I'm going to get on you right now. You walking, talking piece of fecal tissue, wherever you are. Okay. Here's what I'm going to get on. I'm going to get on you right now. If you're in the Philippines, big mouth, lying piece of garbage, I'll meet you at a hospital of your choice in Bohol, in Tagbilaran. You piece of garbage. But you better have 20,000 pesos in your pocket. And I'm going to pay for the blood test. And we're going to wait for the blood test results to come right back. I don't care if we have to sit in a hotel room. You're not going to leave my site until the blood tests come back, you piece of garbage. And my blood test is going to come back 100% clean, you piece of garbage, for saying stuff like that, talking through your ass on my channel. Okay, so it's only $400, you piece of garbage. Tell me that you'll meet me in Bohol, and we'll go to 2 hospitals. And you put the money in my hand. If I come up with any kind of drugs in my system, you take the money, you piece of garbage. One more comment from you, polarized, and you are history, you piece of human fecal tissue. Can Mr. Obama fly today? Mr. Obama for Warren H. Mr. Obama can fly. In fact, I think he's just coming in. Woo! Mr. Obama, will you fly for money? No, I will not fly for money. Mr. Obama, will you fly for food? No, I don't fly for food. Mr. Obama, will you fly if someone promises to shtuk you? Oh, I'm getting ready. I'm flying for a shtuk. Mr. Obama will fly from here to California. I'll fly further than that. I'll fly, come see you, Rabbi, in the Philippines. Ready? Warren H. Here comes Mr. Obama, flying for the shtuk. Woo, woo, woo. Wrong way, Mr. Obama. I was practicing. We got a good shot there. Woo, 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 flying. Mr. Obama's flying. Warren H., thanks for reminding me. Mr. Obama can fly. Okay. All right. All right. So Granddad and LOL laughing my, I don't know where we are. Here is where I learned good. Here is where I learned good English. Oh my God. Pamela Kerr. I know that name. Mr. Obama's looking a little bit light in the loafers. Light in the loafers? Did you call me Michael Fazio? No, Mr. Obama. But they all know that you're a little light in the loafers. Show them your loafers. These are not penny loafers. These are peso loafers. I'm in the Philippines with Rabbi Joe Barker. Look, 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 look. These are peso loafers. They have nothing. They have nothing on a penny. Mr. Obama making his grand appearance, flying for some shtuk. Ooh, salamat. Scott Del Fuego. Oh no, let me fly to Mr. Larry Sinclair's house, Mr. Fazio. Larry Sinclair! Larry Sinclair! Did somebody say Larry Sinclair? Oh my God! Larry! Larry, if you're out there! Mr. Obama, Larry is with the Trayvon and Martin. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my God! Oh my God! Trayvon! If I had a son, it would be like a Trayvon Martin. I know, I remember you said that, Mr. Obama. If you had a son, it would be like a Trayvon Martin. From your lips to God's ears. Oh, thank you, Rabbi. Salamat, Rabbi. Rabbi, you are Isa, #1 Rabbi. Mr. Obama, they all want to see you fly. Can you fly like a rocket? Could you fly like a rocket, like that guy who has the rocket ship that goes up and down? I could fly like that, Rabbi, if I had a good landing pad. Well, Mr. Obama, what would you like to land on? Something long, something like a big stick, because the rocket has to come down straight under the big stick. I could arrange that, Mr. Obama. Yeah, I have a nice something for you, Mr. Obama. You want to come down? So you want to, like, what is the name of that guy? The name of the company? Virgin Atlantic? Yeah. Virgin Atlantic. That's it. I want to go up and I want to come down on something like a landing pad vertical. So what about this? Oh my God, Rabbi, I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna land. Rabbi, Mr. Obama, get on with it. I'm flying. Ready? Put it in. Let me put on the launching pad. So I get it. You're in there, Mr. Obama. Vertical takeoff. Woo! Mr. Obama. Okay, you're running out of fuel. It's time to land. Woo! This is my favorite part, Rabbi. I'm coming. Keep that to yourself, Mr. Obama. I'm coming. You got to back a little bit, Mr. Obama. Back a little bit. Down. Come around. Face 1A. Oh, I'm coming. Oh, I'm coming down. Oh, 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 I'm good now. I feel much better. Thank you, Rabbi. You're welcome, Mr. Obama. Take a bow. And Mr. Obama takes a bow. Warren H., this is all your fault, by the way. Okay, I got to put my glasses on. All that rocket fuel inside my head. Scott, let me fly. Yeah, for flying. Yeah. You see what you started, Warren, Scott? You guys egging me on. You brought Mr. Obama. He was on. He was reconnoitering some new political agenda that anyway. Oh no, Larry and Scott Del Fuego, Larry and Trayvon. Oh, you know what you guys are missing? All kidding aside, you're missing my Trayvon Martin videos, politically incorrect as they may be. I think when I was making them, I couldn't stop laughing. See, because Trayvon Martin is in heaven. All right. Now his girlfriend, the girl with the tie around the neck, not she doesn't have a real tie, but she has like a big neck, like Jabba the Hutt. She is talking to Trayvon and asking Trayvon questions, and Trayvon is answering her. What happened to be a thunderstorm at the time. So I would say, Trayvon, are you there? And the thunder, I'm here, Rabbi, and the thunder would be crashing down all around me. And the thunder actually seemed to be synced up with the words from Trayvon Martin talking to that girl. Thank you, Blue Rose. Gandhi Bob's, LOL. Yeah, baby. We can have some fun here. Pamela Carr, we can have some fun. Since 2000, LOL. We can have some fun here. Warren H, laugh so hard. Thanks. Haven't laughed that hard in weeks. You know, I should do a show, the Mr. Obama rocket show. He's a rocket man. And he is a rocket man, according to Larry Sinclair. Now all we need is a hubble bubble and a blowtorch, and we could be Rocket Man. Only Scott Del Fuego would understand what I just said. And a few other unfortunate people out there in the audience. Yes, those words, hubble bubble and Rocket Man, they go together like two peas in a pod. Gordy Bobs. Salamat, Gordy, for the LOLs. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, you know, that was all done on the fly. No pun intended. All right, so then, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a lot more to say. Well, I could, honey, sleeping. All right, Daisy's sleeping. Believe that? Oh, oh, you have the headphones on. I'm gonna get water. I'm gonna get some water. There you go. Daisy has water. She had the headphones on. Going, how could she sleep with all of that racket? Mr. Obama, I'm here, Michael Fazio. I'm here. Say hello to Warren. Pamela, salamat. Pamela, say hello to Pamela. Hi, Pamela. Hello, Pamela Carr. Pamela Carr, we love you. I love you. If you need anything from me, I will say, I will. There you go, Pamela. Oh my God. I'm Pamela, salamat. I want to say salamat. Thank you, Pamela Carr. Pamela, if there's something I could do for you, is there anything else? I don't know. You know, I had to put the DOD away. And if you don't know what the DOD is, I had to kind of like I had to put that on like a curfew, the DOD. But we do appreciate that. And between you and Steve, we're gonna have a nice dinner, and we're gonna mention you at our super chat dinner. So thanks for that. And I tell you what, I can do for you, Pamela. I can do something for you for that wonderful super chat donation. I can give you a list of about 50 of my original Obama videos. And what you're going to need to do is leave a comment in the bottom of this video in the comment section. Okay? Or you can go to my home page and go to my About page and then go to On the About page, scroll down and go to my Michael and Daisy May Facebook page. Ask me for a friend request, because I'll know what your name is, and then mention your name from your YouTube name in case it's different on Facebook. Ask me for a friend request, and then what I will do is I will accept your friend request and then ask you for your email, and then I will send you a minimum of 50 Obama videos. So it will, you would endear me to be able to do that for you because of your super chat. And I don't want people to just think that super chat is just thank you and you don't get anything in return for it. So please do that. Go to my About page, my Facebook, Michael and Daisy May page, send me a request and I will send you an email. I'll ask you for your email and I will send you an email with no less than 50 Obama videos. Blue Rose, thank you. Blue Rose has always been a super chat donator, also contributed to my super chat, and I don't want you to do it again. I don't ask for it. I mentioned super chat because what my Patreon and super chat is for things of a value. They have a value. My old Obama videos have a value, a comedic value. So thank you. Scott, good night. Thanks for stopping by. You have 500 grams. I repeat, you have 500 grams of anise on your way. 25 bags, 20 bags with 25 grams or 25 bags with 20 grams in them each. Either way, you have 500 grams of anise and on the way to you in America. The post office says, how much does it weigh? I said, 500 grams. He goes, you know that? Well, I did the math. 500 grams is so easy to remember. It's half a key. What's to forget? Okay, Pamela, thank you. Okay, now, since 2000, have a good night, both of you. I saw your videos on the dollar bill. Fascinating, I was glued. Thank you, Sense of Style. Census 2000. Okay, so, Pamela, that's what you should do. Ladies and gentlemen, Daisy, are you hungry?
I just ate.
You ate already. Okay. So if anybody else has any questions, please. Good night, Scott. Good night, Senses. We're going to go. Well, I'm going to rest. I'm going to have some water. Pamela, please don't forget. I have a great list of videos I can send you. Thank you, Pamela. Salamat. Firewood. No. This is water with anise in it. This is the anise that's on its way to Scott Del Fuego's house. The little black things in there. It's a spice. It tastes like licorice. It's 10 pesos. It's 25 grams. It's 20 cents. It's about 1 penny a gram for this stuff. And I don't know how much it is in America, but Scott said he couldn't find any. And he's been a long-term Patreon member, probably going back. One of my first Patreon members, I think I started it in February. And we talk on the phone all the time. I said, I'll send you some anise. He didn't even ask me for the anise. He was going to do me a favor. He was doing me a favor. And he didn't even ask me to send him the anise. He said it was expensive where he comes from. I can't do enough for Scott or my friends on Patreon. And that includes you as a Patreon member, pretty much any level. You have the ability to ask me to call you. Give me your telephone number, and I call you up. And it's I call you up using Skype Talk, just as good as any other talk service. And I can talk to you for an hour or 2 hours if you have questions about the Philippines. And that includes, of course, you, Pamela, even though you're not a member of my Patreon community. That's one of the benefits I give to the people that donate. So feel free to use that option. All right, Mr. Obama, is there anything else you want to say? Oh, Rabbi Chewbacca, I love you, Rabbi. I know, Mr. Obama, but I love you more, Mr. Obama. Kisses for you. Kisses for Mr. Obama. Because, Mr. Obama, you made me famous. And God day to everybody from Michael Fazio and
Decimate.
come on over here. Put that guapa face in here. Ballyhoo. The guapa ka. Guapa means beautiful. My beautiful Filipina akong babae. I learned a new word today. But I forgot the word. Maghigda ko. Maghigda ko. It means I will lay. That's right. Maghigda ko. Good night, Pamela. Daisy, say good night to Pamela. Pamela bought us a dinner, a super chat dinner.
Good night, Pamela. Here.
And salamat.
Thank you very much. Salamat.
Good night, Warren. Yep, we'll stay safe. Grandad, have a nice evening, everybody. Blue Rose.
Okay. Me.
Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3. This is Michael Fazio and
Decimate
in the Philippines, baby. I'm Ping Permy. Now I'm gonna boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Bye-bye. I'm actually gonna say goodnight with the notes that I was gonna put in this video at the top of the super chat. I'm gonna put those notes in the video once it processes through YouTube. The clarity won't get much better, but I'm gonna buy a cam this week. Remind me to buy a cam so to get the clarity on these videos better. God bless from the Philippines, baby. Hold, Mr. Obama. Watch out. He's got some tricks up his sleeve, you know. Mr. Obama has tricks up his sleeve, and according to Larry Sinclair, he's got a trick up the pants. Yeah, that's right. Get out of there, Mr. Obama.